Rochester Free Radio, broadcasting from the Key Lock Business Park in Cornhill. WRFZ LP Rochester, 106.3 FM.
Forgive them, Father, for they know not what they do. Taking control in a world that's cracked while the odds are stacked. We somehow never cease to hesitate to spit our backs when it's survival of the fittest. What's the point in compassion? Why even get a seize when it's a hospital cash? And evolutionize identity, gorilla like propensity, lord of this extremity. In your name, in your name. Is taking a hole in a wall that's far while both sides are by. We somehow never cease to hesitate to fight to stop. Here's to progressive liberation through a government sanction. Here's to fiscal conservation through some fiat inflation. Transhuman singularity, coercive cryptocurrency. I break down the tyranny in your name. What we feel could set us free. We just that moment of redemption. Something big, eternity, just beyond these three dimensions. I can feel it in my body, a metaphysical tsunami. Something better than I could ever wish for. Every soul so systematically insane. In your name. will drop. No water's flooding out your vision, cause the tears won't stop. It's always never greener. It's always never greener. It's always never greener. It's always never greener. On the other side. Said it like we meant it, but we bet it. Headed up on the fence, and then we bet it as we penetrated our consequences. Good and menace, trying to shred it. All the evidence, like jump up and across the fence, looking to envious. No lesson from the life you left a mess. A hex, a payment of respect to what will never go. We're less than shedded tears, confess and fears, spit out our letterheads. Illegal reasoning to seal the dead and left unsaid. And like we meant it, but we bet it. Headed up on the fence, and then regret it as we penetrated our consequences. Good and menace, trying to shred it. All the accidents, like jump up and across the fence, looking to envious. No lesson from the life we left a mess. A hex, a payment of respect to what will never go. We're less than shedded tears, confess and fears, spit out our letterheads. Illegal reasoning to seal the dead and left unsaid.
All right, we are back now, and we're joined by the awesome.
I can hear out of this thing.
You can hear it?
No,
Excellent.
that one doesn't work, so he's just going to
Okay.
use that.
Perfect. Sam, thanks for coming in from Slave to Servant, right?
to Servant, yeah.
We
Thank you,
just heard
Brian.
Heard a couple
And
tracks
Samara
off
for
the
having me.
brand new
You're
record that
very
just
welcome.
came out. You know, tell everybody about it. What's going on? What we're going to play some songs
so-
too as well. So talk about it.
Yeah, I've been writing the record for quite some time. I'm originally from Chicago. Came here to the Finger Lakes region in 2011, and I used to manage a campground, and then did a podcast for a while in the early, 2013 to 2016. Interviewed a lot of different researchers on a lot of kind of counterculture topics and stuff like that. It was hard back then to get anybody to listen to a podcast. They were like, what's a podcast? And now it seems like everybody and their mom has a podcast.
Yeah.
Actually, the podcast might be beating you guys out with the radio world.
Yeah,
but,
we should be doing a podcast, but we're
yeah, from the radio station.
Yeah.
But anyway, a lot of that content that I interviewed researchers and philosophers, naturopaths, stuff like that on, made the content for Slave to Servant's music. It's a very kind of socio-spiritual message, and it's been a long time in the making. We recorded the record with Jesse Sprinkle, who has a studio in Avon, New York here. He drummed on the record. And then we mixed it with James Paul Wisner, who did Dashboard Confessional and Paramore and Under Oath and those kinds of bands. And then right as the lockdowns kind of happened in 2020, early 2020, we were done mixing it, and I was about to master it, and I got a good deal with Howie Weinberg, who mastered Nirvana's Nevermind and Smashing Pumpkins and Faith No More, all the bands that kind of got me to play guitar. And so it's a really big sounding record. I'm very happy with it. I'm glad I recorded it when I did. And it's about a lot of different topics. And I guess if you want to go further, we can go further.
Sure.
But that's,
No, tell everybody a little bit about, because it is a little bit different than, but it still have a certain message in it. And tell everybody a little bit about how that all comes together for you. And
Sure. Well, the band name is called Slave to Servant with a 2,
Yep.
TWO, with the symbol 2. I would have left it that way on Spotify and iTunes and all that, but I decided to spell it out so that it would be easy to kind of,
Gotcha.
find it
I was gonna ask
that
you how-
way.
I was gonna ask
I
you on
prefer
that.
to use the 2, like the Roman numeral, but it's because there's a double meaning. You go back to ancient Greco-Roman times and Near Eastern religions, like the gods and things like this that we learn about. If you look at especially like the Greek gods, they created humanity to be slaves, and a lot of people don't recognize that, but it's the truth. And just coming from what would be a Hebraic side of things, the Hebraic God, the monotheism of the Hebrews, God created man to be autonomous, and woman has her own creation story. It's the only Near Eastern text that has a separate account for woman, which I think is quite interesting. But all that being said is that we're in a kind of, even the church, even like being raised in the church myself, we kind of came out of Rome, you know, and I think that the society, I guess the way I see it is that we're kind of living in a Roman society more so than the Hebraic society, where even in the Hebraic society, in Rome, humility was a weakness, and humility was actually a virtue in the Hebraic society, and I find that to be also very interesting and more in line with my viewpoint in life. So I put a lot of my faith in my music.
Nice.
I'm not into churchianity. I don't really attend a church, but I'm very spiritual, and I infuse that in my lyrics and such. I also, going from the slave to a servant, which is a servant is a true leader.
Sure.
Not somebody who's hierarchical and in charge, like a militant person, the way that our society is kind of structured right now. It's like you're a leader if you're an alpha. And it's like, no, if you serve, you're a leader. I think that's the right way to go. I mean, it's those people that treat people right, instead of just wanting control. And I see a lot of issues we all have to kind of fight our own battles, but I think that there is a counterculture going on right now in some really meaningful regards, and I think everybody that played on our record is on board with that, especially my buddy James, who Tamara
Let's talk about who's on the record, who's part of it, who's part of the Slave to Servant band, and
So
we'll get into that a little bit right now.
As I said, Jesse Sprinkle drummed on the record, and then James Wright, he played bass on the record, and then my buddy Kenny Endy, who's also, I'm a full-time musician in the Finger Lakes. I play breweries and wineries for a living, and I homeschool my kids and stuff. And but my buddy Kenny and his brother Tom, they are also local musicians and play for a living. And so Kenny played some leads that were above my pay grade on the record. So that was the record itself. And tonight we're playing in Penn our third show ever at Outlet 111 with a band called The Undefeated, who's another New York local band, a little younger than us, but really stoked about them. Our friend Phil Rare, is running as a libertarian in Penn for the county seat tonight. So it's his event at 5 o'clock at Outlet 111. They're having a kind of social at 5. Undefeated goes on at 6. We go on at 7, and then that's a wrap. And then I'm out of New York. I'm escaping Babylon. I mean New York. But yeah, the name of the album is Escape Babylon.
Yep.
And
what's the meaning behind that? If there's a meaning behind?
I think that Babylon is essentially, historically speaking, if you look at the Hebraic people and culture and context, the Hebrews were enslaved in Egypt first, and Babylon was the second place. It's like the Egyptian it's the remix of Egypt, basically, just another continuation. And I see our society, if we go to Washington, D.C., you can look at your monuments. They say there's a separation of church and state, but I don't see it that way. I think that I go to the apotheosis of George Washington, him ascending to godhood. It doesn't seem like a separation of church and state or spirituality necessarily. So I don't know, it's an interesting situation, but I think Babylon ultimately, if we can talk about the historical part of it, but for me, Babylon starts in the mind. And to me, Babylon is just slavery. And I think that you have to free your mind to leave the matrix, so to speak.
Okay. Nice. So talk a little bit about the decision because it's a rock record. I mean,
Yeah, absolutely.
And there could be a lot of expression. And you're going to play some of the songs unplugged in a little while. You know what I mean? So what's the decision? Was that a conscious decision? We're going to make this a rock record as opposed to something that's a little bit more that can still get a message out there. We want to send that message in a rock heavy metal format, right? A heavier format. Was that the intention?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I've made, I think this is my 15th record that I've ever made. I used to play music in Chicago and did like 10 albums in 10 years. So I come from kind of like a punk background myself. And so it was just very natural for me to make a rock record. I hadn't done one in quite some time. And I think there's a lot of styles on the record. It starts off very catchy and gets very experimental in the middle of it. But it's very, I would say, like more than most things, I would say it's a very post grunge kind of feel to it.
Yeah.
But the album cover, if I can just describe that real quick, because a lot of people don't. Can I ask you what you see? Can just you?
I see. Wow. I see. Oh. I see the land and sea. I see. Obviously, there's an elephant in the front, and his lower half is in the water, and his upper half is on the land, which is on fire. So there's sort of I want to say like almost like a phoenix to that, but I don't know. Maybe you can describe that a little. I think it's an interesting concept for the record.
If you look a little closer, underneath, what's he standing on?
That I can't tell, I guess.
That's a donkey carcass.
Oh.
And this is the political dichotomy of our
I
system.
see it now.
And you are either burning or you are drowning in this system because the system is based in entropy. And when you flip the album over and look at the song titles, it's just bones on the back. That's all that's left. Because the system is destined for failure.
Okay. All right.
Wow.
So yeah, I had no idea that was okay. Now I can see and see the concept of that.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's,
Wow. That's
really cool.
interesting.
Yeah, it is. Yeah.
It's deep.
Yeah,
You're either burning or drowning. It doesn't really matter. Two wings of the same bird.
Wow. That's really cool. I'd like to have you play a couple songs. If you want, I can play one of the electric versions and then let you set up. And then when we come back off that song, you could play a couple unplugged ones. That's up to you if you're okay with that.
Sure. If you want to play YESHUA, I will do an acoustic version of that next, and then I'll.
Sure. Which one was that one?
That is track, I believe, 12. Yeah, 12.
Yes, okay.
Yeah.
All right. I'll play track 12 for everybody, and we'll come on back and you can perform it unplugged. It's always a good idea to kind of see that. The differences, you know, but at the same time, sometimes you can understand those lyrics and just kind of understand the message behind it with the difference of being electric to acoustic setting. So we'll play this one here for you. We'll be back in a couple minutes, everybody. Rock the Rock.
And everything we breathe ain't the be-all and end-all. And maybe what we do don't do much without a clue. Our cluelessness won't clue us into faith. We're swimming in a world of lies we believe. We're drowning in the shallow and the deepness that goes deeper than the depths of our entire mind. Lord of our life, YESHUA. and everything we breathe ain't the be-all and end-all. And maybe what we don't do much without a clue. Our cluelessness won't clue us into fate. We're swimming in a world of lies we believe. We're drowning in the shadow, and the deepness that goes deeper than the depths of our entire mind. Goes sort of our life. YESHUA, YESHUA. The heavens reply, YESHUA, YESHUA. Immersed in every doubt. It takes a lot of guts to spill them out before you make it. Bright side, we wanna be genuine, but remain dim and fragile. Lens, stretching science, wrecking everything you design, even conquering times. No matter grace that comes with undeserved. Lord of our life, YESHUA, YESHUA. The heavens reply, YESHUA, YESHUA. Lord of our life, YESHUA, YESHUA. Lord of our life, YESHUA, YESHUA. Hallowed be thy name, YESHUA, YESHUA. Creator divine, YESHUA, YESHUA. YESHUA, YESHUA.
Yeah, well done.
Very well done. I like it.
Yeah, it was. That was extremely well done, and it shows the a little difference, obviously, between the electric version versus that one. But they're both powerful, right? Anybody who doesn't know could describe that song a little bit to everyone that maybe doesn't know what that means. That and all that.
Yeshua is the original Hebrew name for Jesus.
Yep.
And I just find it to be more meaningful when you call him by his real historical name.
Correct.
So.
Excellent. Then that, anybody who didn't know that, they'll get that little education on that. Cool. Awesome. I think it's well put together. So let's, if you got another one for us or two.
Sure. This one is the song's about rising above. And the song's called Hindsight 2020. Wrote this right. I remember James Wright and I went out with his wife, and we went to like a New Year's party going into 2020. So New Year's 2019 going into 2020, and I was writing the lyrics. Like I had the music all basically recorded, but I hadn't finished the verses yet.
Sure. Yeah.
And that night, it all came to me on New Year's, and I was like, man, hindsight 2020, and it was this reflection of just life experience over the last however many years it's been, especially in New York. And there's just talks in the song about I don't know, I guess I'll just play it, but we released a video for this song where I write all my own music videos, by the way. We have a Slave to Servant music channel.
Oh, cool.
If anybody wants to, real quick, if I can plug Spotify,
Absolutely.
please follow us on Spotify. We have vinyl records, we have CDs, we have shirts, we have posters, we have all kinds of stuff that you can order. But if you're not, the best thing that you can do is just spread the name of this band and just follow us on Spotify would be my personal request. So
Sure.
I think we have like 136 followers, I think I last checked. So
Nice.
it'd be nice to get a little more. So,
Sure.
But this song has a music video like most of the other ones do. I find that there's something about being able to kind of give the song a new dimension, a new meaning by coming up with a storyline, and it kind of, I don't know, cements the song differently in people's psyches, So this one is kind of entertaining, and it's kind of a noir mystery video, and I talk about this triangular scheme, which refers to a couple different meanings, but it's kind of an interesting video. So anyway, let's see. This one's a little higher, so forgive me. I haven't stretched out properly.
You're good.
But this is good. This is good. I'm getting my stretch out for the show tonight.
There you go.
Also, I did want to say real quick, there's another band. Their first show ever is today. It's in California. I'm trying to remember. I think it's called Punk in the Park. It's a big festival of SoCal punk bands from like the 90s and stuff earlier. But this band called The Defiant, they're brand new. It's Pete Parada, who got kicked out of The Offspring for not getting the COVID vaccine.
Okay.
And he is the drummer of the band. The singer of the Mighty Mighty Bosstones also didn't take the vaccine and got kicked off Jimmy Kimmel or whatever it was, the show.
Okay.
So all these guys they decided to be against the grain, which I think is punk. Punk was kind of like that, I guess, like accepting that way. And they decided to form a band, and they just released their record like this last week, and they have their first show. I just wanted to plug them because they're a band that I definitely look up to the members. They're a little older than me, and I consider Slave to Servant kind of, even though we're not a punk rock band per se, I feel like we share the same anti-establishment sentiment. So,
Nice.
Anyway, this song's called Hindsight 2020.
Nice.
Nights like this, what's the use in sleeping? I've been asleep for my whole life anyway. Stones and sticks, why waste time repeating? We're just a rerun on our screens every day. I highly like a story with a twist on the rock, so faded, but I make it from rock bottom to top. It's almost like someone on me to favor shit. I prevail since sail tip scales and blaze the trail. Whatever happened to the golden rule and when was it seized? Whoever has the gold, they make the rules and these displaced, but I my faith in something else. And I finally figured out what you're all about. Talk is cheap when truth ain't free. Said I finally figured out what it's all about. The truth is cheap into this screen. So impolitic. What's the point in speaking? I've been in silence my whole life. Anyway, scratch the itch. Why waste time on healing when we're just cheating on our dreams every day? Conclusion, only so much time left on the clock, so fade until we make it to the bar. Finally drops. It's probable some just wanna hate, but haters gon' hate, so create, elevate, never let that ego inflate. Whatever happened to humility and when was it squeezed? If it has a code, to take away the keys. You can do anything that you can't do, everything. Finally figured out what you're all about. The talk is cheap when truth ain't free. Said I finally figured out what it's all about. A typical triangular scheme. And I finally figured out what you're all about. Talk is cheap when truth ain't free. Said I finally figured out what it's all about. A typical triangular scheme. Said I finally figured out what you're all about. The talk is cheap when truth ain't free. Said I finally figured out what it's all about. The typical triangular scheme. Scheme, scheme. Scheme. Scheme, 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 scheme.
Excellent.
I didn't record any of that, by the way.
What's that?
Oh, nice.
Wow.
You totally forgot?
I totally forgot.
Excellent.
Just looked on air.
Oh, yeah. All right, then. No problem.
But you got the audio, right? So.
Oh,
yes.
yeah, we got the audio.
Oh, yeah.
We'll figure it out.
Definitely. Something didn't go right over there.
Yeah.
Technology, huh? Love it.
Yeah.
Sometimes technology doesn't work on our system, but for
Right.
our
Well,
kind
sometimes
of
you have to
shows,
press
but-
play.
Yeah, sometimes I just
You
don't
know?
work. You know? Yeah.
I get it, too. I am, yeah. Me and technology don't get along
Yeah.
sometimes.
Hey, fist bump.
Yes.
I'm stay antiquated.
Yeah.
I think that's good. Would you guys I mean, you are obviously, you play in a rock theme, right? In that vein is, I would call it rock and roll. Maybe there's a little bit of punk, but everybody loves their labels. Would you, knowing the lyrics and the stories behind this stuff, would you consider yourselves like a Christian rock kind of band, or?
Yeah, I mean, I think that you could throw us in there. I mean, there's this age-old argument in this situation. I think our drummer Jesse Sprinkle would share the sentiment: is, are we a Christian band or are we Christians in a band?
Oh, interesting. Yeah.
Right. So
Yep.
the faith would come out. Like, what makes a good Christian shoemaker? Making good shoes, not necessarily putting a cross on shoes.
Right.
But you might see that, wow, they have a really good ethic and a really good product. And maybe you might even see some of the faith come out, in their work. But,
Yeah.
we don't advertise ourselves as a Christian band, even
Sure.
though, YESHUA is so obviously a worship
Well,
song,
yeah. I mean, I've been reading through your lyrics, and like they're all like that. Which I personally find it good. Right.
Yeah.
I'm not offended or anything. I was just wondering because you hear a little bit about that, but you don't hear it so much anymore.
Yeah.
They're not, Striper's not around anymore. So there's,
Yeah.
there's Skrillex, but other than that, there's really not, you don't hear that anymore.
No.
But I like that take about being Christians in a band, because
Yes.
I would consider myself a Christian. I'm not in a band, but I do radio stuff. I hang out with bands. We do. So I like that take, because that's the more humane approach, I would think, meaning bringing the human into it versus this thing, right?
I think for a long time, I think that it's been taboo to even talk about your faith in rock and roll, be articulate.
Yeah.
I think it's more closely related with, I see hip hop artists do it. I see R&B artists do it, because like, let's be fair, the black culture, a lot of it is raised in the church, at least here in America, that I know of, you know. And I'm a huge fan of hip hop, and that's my first love, is hip hop and R&B. I mean, the first kind of music I ever got into before rock. But I think it's been taboo for far too long to talk about your faith, and I think the great uncharted territory, as Billy Corgan said, is God in rock and roll. And I think we're on the precipice of something new, uncharted territory. I also think that for a long time it's been all about, there's a business, right? There's a business model.
Yeah.
But there should be something greater. There should be, like I was saying, like, we should be servants, we should be leaders, we should be trying to do something for humanity and something for the youth. I look at myself as, I don't care what happens to Slave to Servant. I just want to, if I can be part of something bigger than what this is, in an influential way, I want to see the youth come up, and I want to see culture change the way it is. And so I guess that's kind of my goal. I don't have any goals of stardom or anything like that. I just want to do something different and be part of, like, it just takes that one person to step up and say, hey, let's do this differently, right?
Yeah.
And
you guys are leading the way.
We'll see.
I mean, well, you are. I mean, in your own way, like Jim would say on his show, Everyday Leaders, right? That you can lead from anywhere, and you can lead by doing anything, and that's kind of what you guys are doing. You found a need, you saw a need. You're like, look, I don't like the way this is run, so I'm going to go left.
Well,
I'm going to turn left, and that's what you guys have done, which I think it's fantastic. I fully enjoyed your music.
Yeah.
Thank you. And what I was going to say also, I don't think that music has to be, the business model of making music is, we target cities, right? And we target cities because they're largely populated, and it makes sense on a numeric scale of adding up the numbers and saying, we can pack this stadium here, we can do this here because there's more people to market to, right? It makes sense. But I seem to be drawn away from cities. I'm kind of just flipping the pyramid upside down and doing things differently. And we just got back from Tennessee. We played our first public show, because our first show was actually in Utica at a Messianic synagogue, actually.
Oh, nice.
It was an unplugged show, and James played with us there for our Singularity release in 2021. But we just released the album earlier in mid-October at Self-Reliance Festival, which is kind of an anarcho-prepper kind of event. And by the way, I will say this, everybody was armed there, and I've never felt safer. Like, having a bunch of armed, like, just like-minded people there, it was awesome. But point being is that I think that music is, I think we're, like I said, at the precipice of this uncharted territory where we can kind of do whatever we want. Look, we've watched music change, technologically speaking, right? Like, I handed you a CD, and that's kind of old news, right? But I think the live aspect of this, I think there's going to be a lot of hubs and countercultures, and it's going to be interesting to see what happens. And my message is not one of, I'm not here to bring anybody down at all. I can boldly disagree with people, but this is my life statement right here: love against the machine. You know,
Describe that
do
a
everything
little bit
with
to people,
respect.
Yeah.
Well, it's just this idea again of being a servant, being a leader, accepting people for who they are right now. Like, what's that, the 12-step program, right? It's like, until you accept, you can't change, right? It's kind of like a paradox, right? Like, you have to kind of accept how, like, whatever's going on.
Right.
And I think we just need to accept everybody for where they're at. And that being said, you know, our drummer and I, if I can open up a little bit about this, I mean, it seems like we're in a pretty safe space here, but in 2019, before COVID hit. That was when I was recording this record. And I can't explain the itch that I had, but I've been brewing it for a really long time. And my kids were in the public school system. For 2 years, I wrote a religious exemption for vaccines because, again, I don't push anybody one way or the other. Like I'm just making my own free autonomous decision as a creation of the Most High, you know? And so in 2019, July, we got a letter from the state saying we've revoked in New York State the religious exemption for vaccines. So we were forced with this choice. And as people that are homeowners, like we have to pay taxes, but we can't send our kids to school unless we go against our own values, you know? And so we chose to homeschool, and it ended up being a blessing. And the same thing happened with Jesse and his family. And everybody ended up coming home. It was like, to me, God just said, it was hard. Like my kids had friends that they couldn't be in school with, but it's been a big journey, you know. And I just feel like I said, the band, The Defiant, and bands like us, we want things to be fair, like all around, and nobody's attacking anyone. We're not here to create a war. We're here to unite, because hate just begats hate. Like I'm not all about rage against the machine. I'm about love against the machine. So.
No, I love that.
Yeah.
You meet people where they're at.
Yeah,
right?
exactly.
For where they're at right now, except
Yes, and I think in this, you know, and if we're talking on the same topic, that we have so many people who are just so one way. You're not saying that. You're not saying, oh, you're wrong for getting vaccinated. Like, I'm vaccinated, you know. But you're not saying we're wrong about it. But you're saying you need to have a choice. You shouldn't be, you know, there shouldn't be a mandate.
We were made as kings and queens.
Yeah.
Like, just imagine if I call you, I'm like, hey, what's up, Brian? What's up, King? Like that kind of lingo, like viewing people that way as royalty versus this accidental version of history, this accidental version of this Big Bang idea that is a Darwinian creation which created eugenics. And don't get me started, I talk about all that stuff in my lyrics, but it's, to me, it doesn't resonate with me. It doesn't resonate with love at all. I think it's barbaric. I think it's an ancient Roman system. Goes further back than that, but I think that we just need to be able to open the dialogue up and say there's a different way. That can we just accept people for who they are right now, and not vibrate at such a low level, I guess. You know?
Yeah, no, I get that.
Oh, yeah.
I get that, vibrating at a higher level and stuff. Yeah, there's a lot of, and I think you're seeing it now. I think we are breaking a lot of those taboos and a lot of the stigmas. We have a long way to go, don't get me wrong, but you're starting to see some of the cracks, I think. Some of the stuff just isn't as taboo or stigmatized as it used to be. You know, like I said, it's like an onion. There's still a lot of layers to peel.
Tons. And a lot of these things are just symptoms of a greater problem.
Yeah.
I think we just don't really know our identity in this society. When you're a child and you go into school, in the public school system, your teacher often, like when you're in kindergarten or a very young age, they'll ask you, what do you want to be when you grow up? Well, that question assumes that your identity is based in what you do. And we're so much bigger than that. I'm not just an artist. I'm not just a father. I'm not just... These are just hats. Like, here, I'm a different person now. I don't need to wear that hat, you know? Like, we need to identify as what we are, which is autonomous royalty. All of us is the human race, not as separate races. I don't even believe in separate races. And it's, to me, we all have... I don't have white skin. I have brown skin. I do. I mean, like, hold up a white piece of paper. It's not white. I think that these are all problems. We have all these symptoms of society, and it's just a really big heart issue that's going on. And it's either vice or virtue, really. So.
Yeah, and I think that's a great, you know, I felt no message. That's a great message to send. I think I think at the heart of everybody, I think we kind of do have that in us to be that way. I just think we don't want to act on it all the time. It seems like we're afraid to say and act like you are sometimes. You know what I mean? As people, I think we did, because people will look at us differently if we're, you know, maybe. I don't know.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I
You
think we all
understand?
do hold back to some degree.
think so.
I think a lot of us are.
I think we're more faith-based than
Then
you know.
and then a lot of people would like
would
to
agree.
admit,
Yeah.
right?
Yes.
And I think we're all afraid. Not all of us, but I can speak for myself. We're all afraid of our own power,
Mm-hmm.
right? Because we are, like you said, we're all very powerful beings. Each and every single one of us
That is
has
well
superpowers,
That is well
but we
said.
don't ever let. A lot of us don't let our light shine because we're afraid of that.
There's
you
a
know.
song on the record called Power, and I strongly
Is
urge
it-
you to read those lyrics.
Yeah?
because that's-
Okay.
That's probably the most powerful song on the record, in my opinion. Yeah.
Do
I
you
mean,
have a favorite song on here?
Yes.
Which song really
Good
speaks to
question,
you?
actually, yeah.
There's a lot, like, this is, I call it truth music because for me, it's my truth, right?
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of it, some of it's autobiographical in an emotional sense, and some of it's in a very spiritual sense. But I look at my favorite song, honestly, is the first song on the record. That's my favorite one. I think something about artists that is overlooked is that we are people. Lauryn Hill said this, and I often quote Lauryn Hill because I just consider her to be one of my favorite artists of all time, and I have many quotes by her that I just love. But this one, she said, "Throughout history, artists have particularly been people who live outside of society in order to expose society to itself." And that, I feel, is my job as a human being. I've never known anything else. I've always been a misfit, and I like it. I think we're supposed to be peculiar. I think that's how we were made, wonderfully made different. You know,
Yeah.
who wants to be the same?
True.
You know, anything that's not growing is dead, right? So
They're very true.
Yeah.
but yeah, I mean, there's a song for my daughter I wrote on the record that's very personal about raising her to know how to be loved by a man and know how to love a man. Because I think that from my experience in the last couple relationships that I've had, I think that women sometimes, when they don't have a father figure, kind of, without knowing it maybe, they expect their partner to be their father. And I think that's it's an unfair situation for the woman to be in, and it's an unfair situation for the husband or partner to be in, you know? And so that's something that, you know, I'm living out with my daughter, and the song's called Lucy May, and it's just a love song for my daughter, you know? So, but yeah, there's deeply personal stuff on this record, and it took like a decade to write it. You know,
Did you
and finish it.
Did you write all the songs, or did
All
you
of
have
them.
some co-writers on there?
No co-writers.
No co-writers. This is all you, and you produced it as well.
I produced it. I did not mix it. I engineered all my own vocals.
Did you engineer James? Like, did you tell him what to do?
No.
I want to go into the studio and tell
there's
James what to
footage
do.
on our Instagram. There's footage of
Oh,
us
okay.
recording the whole record if you follow the Instagram back.
James is a professional, by the way, everybody, if you're listening. I know
Absolutely.
James, and James, if you're listening, you know I just got to give you crap. So, but it would be cool to be in the studio with James and kind of produce him and tell him what to do. That would be cool.
He's great.
I don't get to do that very often.
Well, maybe next
You
time.
like to, though.
Next record.
I do. I could be a really good producer, I think. I think I could, based on some of the recordings I've been in on. But anyway, yeah, I mean, the bar's set pretty low for some of the projects I've been on. But anyway, no, I think it's great. I think you guys have a really great message.
Yeah.
Your music is timely in that, you know, it speaks to people. You know, I think you could see a crowd getting into your music.
Yeah.
You know, and drawing people in, and you know, with your live performances. So, yeah, I think you guys are going to do good. Do you have any other than this date? Do you have any other dates that you're playing out?
I've received a couple inquiries for some festivals.
Oh, okay.
Much like Self-Reliance Festival, we're playing it's a benefit for an organization called Caleb House. It's in March. I think it's March 10th. And I'm not sure. I don't have. My problem is I go all over the place, but it's hard to get band members. In which maybe I should announce that I have if anybody wants to play Slaveiservant and travel, you know, and do shows, I have tutorials on the website, and you can contact me if you want to play guitar or drums or bass or something.
So you don't have. So it's not the same people.
No, my friend Andy actually came all the way on his own dime from the UK, from Birmingham,
Wow.
England, to play guitar for us in Tennessee.
Wow.
And then my friend Ryan, who lives in Arizona, flew in. I flew him in from one of my old bands. He played bass for us for that show because James couldn't make it.
Oh, okay.
So it's really a collective, you know. It's
Oh, okay. It's more of a collective than.
But the record is like, I mean, it's very much a collective, I would say, when it comes to the live piece.
So how creative do you allow some of these players, like the people that were on the album, that are, I'm old school, right? So album. But on this record, did you allow them to be, because you wrote all the songs, so you wrote the music and the lyrics.
Yeah.
But if James came in, and I use James as an example simply because I know him, he came in with an idea for something different around the bass part, or your guitar player came in with an idea, something around the guitar part. How creative did you allow the other band members to be?
Well, I trusted James with everything because James and I bonded over music big time when I first met him.
Yeah.
He filled in for my cover band with Jesse called Handsome Young Ladies. We used to
Okay.
play around the area a lot, and we made a cover record back in 2018 or 19, I can't remember. But anyway, James and I bonded specifically over this artist named Estero, which is one of my biggest influences, and not many people know who she is, let alone who the bass player on the record is. And so James and I geek out hard over that stuff, and our spirituality is very similar.
Yes, he's very connected that way.
There is a depth to him and Jesse that it's very similar. It's awesome. But yeah, I let James go. I let him do what he wanted. Jesse, I programmed all the drums first just to give the grooves, but I'm not a drummer. I mean, I do my own percussion and loop and stuff, but I don't understand fills. So
Right.
I'm like, you do what you want, just keep the general groove. I know.
Oh,
what, I
okay.
know
So
how I want
you
the-
provided the
I
direction.
provided
of-
like a back.
Yeah.
But he didn't have
and
to
so
play
he
the
just
drum
he just
track
made it way
exactly.
better than I could have made it. And
Yeah.
as far as all the guitars, I played all the guitars, I played all the keyboards, I did all my own harmonies, and then some percussion, and then Kenny came in and just, like I said, he's a virtuoso, and I played with one solo on the record on Hindsight 2020, which it sounds like I wrote it, versus somebody like Kenny who's just he's so good. So he played on 5 or 6 tracks on the record,
Okay.
little parts,
Nice.
but yeah, I mean
Well, I
balances
think
it.
that's great. I mean, I think that's the way the creative process should work. I know how all you musicians are, you know, and but you have to have a leader that has to have a vision. And if you had that vision, and so I'm very happy to hear that you had this vision, but then you trusted the people to do their job.
Yes.
Basically to come in and
Yeah.
say, here, let me make it better. Like, okay, I know where you're going,
Totally.
but it's going to do, I can elevate it if I do A.
I think everybody
Excellent.
should be happy with it who's
Yeah.
involved, if
Good.
possible. I think that's the goal, and I think it's a success once it's finished and everybody's happy with it, regardless of how it's received. So
Yeah.
yeah, I'm
And
really
all
happy
those
with the
members are-
record.
All those members are playing today with you? At 7
I
o'clock?
believe so. Yes.
Excellent.
So
Excellent. Good to
Wow.
know, because, you know, somebody may not be able to make it.
well, if they can't, they can't. But
No, I know, but
Will it be a surprise too if your bass player doesn't show up? Because
it
my
would be a
bass player.
surprise if.
Well,
if
let me
James
tell you
didn't
what,
show
my
up.
bass
'Cause
player's.
He's bringing the drummer. So
Oh, that would be a big problem. That would be a big problem.
Yeah.
My bass player always gave me a pain in my butt. I think it's just the nature of the instrument, isn't it, Brian?
no, it isn't.
No, it isn't.
It's not the nature of the instrument at all. It all depends on the person.
Oh, okay.
But yeah, no, I really enjoyed what we've been. I know that you got to get going because you know.
what time is it? I didn't even know.
I don't even know.
About 2:30 almost now. So
Okay. Yeah, I should probably go in the next 5-10 minutes.
yeah, no problem.
Oh, okay.
And yeah, so it's been an excellent conversation with Samuel Peter Swanson, right? And I think I think this is going to do really well. I think it just came out, just got released, right? And where can people pick it up if they're listening
Yeah.
right now? And they want to pick up a copy of it. Where can they get that?
slave2servant.com/store. That's TWO, slave2servant.com/store. We have vinyl. It's on translucent 180 gram vinyl. and it's I don't know. I was trying to remember what I was going to say there. Anyway, the CD version, by the way, that you guys have here has a bonus track because you can fit a little bit more on a CD than you can. So there's a B-side as track 14 that is not on the digital version and not on the vinyl version.
Oh, okay.
But yeah, there's vinyl, there's CD, there are 18 by 24 posters, there are shirts that are like full artwork shirts of the album. If you wanna buy a copy, that's very helpful for me. This is all self-funded DIY, and you're just helping me get through the winter here as a nomadic bus living weirdo. So I appreciate you. But like I said, I know most of everything is online these days and streaming. So yeah, just go follow us on Spotify or whatever type of streaming service you want to check us out on for free if you subscribe to it, and then check us out on YouTube. We have a new music video coming out very soon for the first song on the record called Destroying the Eye, which is kind of entertaining to watch, a little controversial. But just find our social medias, and you can always reach out to me if you're interested in booking the band or booking things. Looking to kind of shift from being a cover artist and maybe book half my year now and just do Slave to Servant. So
Nice.
we'll see what happens. So
Nice. And if they want to follow you down at Penn Yan, one more plug on that.
tonight we're playing. We play at 7:00 till 8:00. We're gonna play.
This will be electric too.
Yeah,
Full
we're gonna play the
electric
whole
show,
record
no
tonight
unplugged or
too.
anything?
So
Okay.
it might be the only time
Oh.
that we ever do all 13 songs off the record.
Oh.
Like this. So, we'll be doing that. There's a band called Undefeated on that's playing before us. They're at 7 or 6:00, and then there's a social at 5. Our friend Phil Rare is running along with 2 other libertarians for county seat in Penn Yan, and as much as I've talked about the system and how I'm kind of a little bit counterculture, and I've kind of gotten out of the dichotomy, I do believe that you can affect change on a local level, and I believe in Phil, and I back him. So that's kind of why we're doing this tonight, is to affect local change. We think that there can be another voice besides what we know.
Okay.
Excellent, I think.
Excellent.
But it's
I hope-
$10 to get in, and you get a free CD with your admission. So
Nothing
Oh,
wrong.
wow. Nothing wrong with
it's at
that.
Outlet
That's cool.
111. Outlet 111. It's a new spot in Penn Yan. There's- So
Outlet 111, everybody, get on out there. Get out there at 5 o'clock, so you have time to get out there. Yeah, head out there soon.
Yeah.
Get in the car and take a
Get in
ride
the car
out
and just
there.
go. Just go right now. And then you get a parking spot and a
Yes.
seat at the bar.
Yes,
So, important things.
cool.
Excellent.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Thanks, Samuel.
appreciate you guys
For being
hearing
part
me.
of our show and be part of getting a message out there. That sometimes is not gotten out there, and I appreciate you. As you as a person and
Thank
everything
I
you guys
appreciate
stand for.
Thanks for
Certainly.
hearing me out.
Yeah, no
Absolutely.
problem.
I'm gonna play one of your favorite tracks. I'm gonna play "Power" off the record. I'll
Cool.
play that one.
Cool. We just filmed the video for that and Yeshua, so in 2024 sometime videos will come out for both those songs. So.
And maybe I'll even
Nice.
throw in for your daughter there, Lucy May. Maybe we'll throw that
That'd be
in
cool.
there
So
too.
the ballad on the record.
Aw.
Yes, absolutely. So here we go, everybody. Some Slave to Servant. We want to thank Samuel for coming on our show. Rock the Rock. We'll be back in a little bit, everybody.
Be careful what you say. You just might get what you wish for today. It's true what you want is synonymous with your needs. Spiritually, just say you understand. We'll ink up your feet and send you under contract. In fact, your fictional existence doesn't exist in essence. Nonetheless, it's extensively binding. Greed breeds clean. Come on and bleed. We're twisting the knife so slow that you won't believe the power sleeps. just say you'll compromise. We'll set you in by oath and watch you fight for your life. Decide time has come to make your decision, so don't fight the incision. Take the mark and share our vision. See blindly free indeed. Bleed, come on and bleed. We're twisting the knife so slow that you won't believe the power's real. But you can feel so desensitized by lies and stuck in between. The power's real. Bleed, come on and bleed. We're twisting the knife so slow that you won't believe. Bleed, come on and bleed. We're twisting the knife so slow that you won't believe. The power's real, but you can feel so desensitized by lies and stuck in between. The power's real. Bleed, come on and bleed. We're twisting the knife so that you won't believe. The power's real, but you can feel so desensitized by lies and stuck in between. Stuck in between. Power is real. What's in a name? Is it the sound of the soul that gets the fame? If you're hearing me right, could I please stay tonight? One last sweet serenade, so I say